what is the tree of life and what is the tree of knowledge? And why do we need to understand this concept? That's what this video is about. Now, of course, I'm talking about Genesis. And in Genesis 2, 8, we read, "And Yahweh God planted a garden in Eden toward the east, and there he placed the man who he had formed, Adam. And out of the ground the Yahweh God caused to grow every tree that is desirable in appearance in good food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil." Now, the tree of life is the tree that sustains you. This is man walking in grace. So when the fall comes, when Eve takes a apple from the tree of good and evil, knowledge of good and evil, they start falling, which means that now they think that they can actually discern good from bad, right? And that's not really possible in your ego. If we read what the devil says about this, of course, the devil is the snake that is guarding the tree of knowledge. In Genesis 3, we read, "But from the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God said, You shall not eat from it, and you shall not touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said to the woman, You surely will not die, for God knows that in the day you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." The idea, of course, with the tree of good and evil, or knowledge of good and evil, is the ego. So you have to understand that the ascension, which is what the Bible is about, how we come back into righteousness, how we become saved as humans, how we establish the new covenant with God, has to do with us coming back to the tree of life, being able to eat from the tree of life, which is man walking in grace. That's the where your burdens are light, right? It says. But when we eat from the tree of knowledge, the tree of the entity that thinks that knows stuff, that has discernment, that can figure things out. When we are lost in our ego, that's where we start struggling. And that's why this concept is very important. That's why Genesis is a very good way of symbolically explaining this concept. It also explains to us, the magic in life, right? That people who seem to be, just floating through life without any, certainly from a distance, it looks like people don't have a lot of problems generally when they are good Christians, whereas people who are not good Christians seem to be, struggling. I've seen it in my life. I have not been a good Christian my entire life, absolutely not. But I can see that when I look at some people who have been good Christians, devoted Christians, they seem to be able to navigate these, the job losses and different problems that people have much easier than normal people, or people who are not as believing. So it's a concept that I found to be very useful to understand, and I encourage you to read Genesis to get an idea of what this concept is about. Some people misunderstand the concept, but the idea is that you are walking in a garden that is feeding you. The universe is benevolent, but because you're eating from the wrong tree, you're getting bad fruit. That's bad food, right? You're making yourself sick. And that's what the tree of knowledge is. It's making you sick. And that's why we also surrender in Christianity. Surrender means surrendering the ego. It doesn't mean that you surrender, give up. The strength that you gain by following grace, eating from the tree of life, following God's plan for you, not your own, because you don't know. How would you know your own plan? You can't. So there's a plan for all of us, and that's basically what's being encouraged. The death, of course, is not an actual physical death. It's a death from the guidance of being living in grace. That's what it is. It means you go back to struggling, to conflict, which of course is the result of ego. I hope this was helpful for some of you if you have been wondering what the symbolism is, but that is what it means. Anyways, if you like this video, press like, and thank you for watching.